politics as usual.
So let's talk about this, gentlemen, because this is obviously all over the internet. If you've been in any of your news feeds, you will see black people going to war with one another over Kamala Harris, which I don't believe that she's worthy of us going to war over. But why do you believe that black people are so divided over Miss Harris? What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
Stop getting upset about these white folks' government, but y'all go ahead. I'm not finna play with this. Like, y'all really upset about this? Like, what do you think is gonna happen here? Like,
exactly. I mean, they're once you dig into her facts, you see about her background and how she at one point in time was locking up nothing but us brothers.
She was doing her job.
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's what the proponents would say. She was the prosecutor.
I mean, technically, I mean, you do the crime, no matter what skin color you are, go to jail. I understand that, but they making it seem like she focused mainly on us brothers.
Yeah, and so the things that people point to, so listen, to be fair and balanced, I've got some negatives and some positives that people on both sides will say about Miss Kamala Harris. Now, from my perspective, these are interesting, right? One of the things, those from Cali will definitely be familiar with her because that's where she is from in terms of where she has served in office. And one of the most notorious things is the California Proposition 21. Okay, any of the Lokes and Damus that are active will know about this because this is the gang-related gang injunction and all of the things that are surrounding gang activity that get young black males locked up. And again, it's not to excuse violence in any way, but there is something to be said about how you handle individuals based off of their age and their environment. And the reason why she has gotten so much scrutiny and backlash is because she was locking up juveniles, 14-year-olds, and trying them as adults. Okay, come on, man. A 14-year-old is not an adult.
Not at
Period.
all. Not at all. Not even close.
We know this from cognitive development that a 14-year-old is not an adult. So yes, I understand that, if a Damu or a Loke, young gangbanger, kills somebody, commits robbery or something of that nature, most likely they're learning that from older individuals. Okay, it's not like they woke up one day and said, "Yeah, I want to gangbang." Most in Compton, I want to hear. Caution, I want to hear your thoughts about this from growing up in Compton because you can speak to this. But Prop 21 is one of those areas where she gets a lot of criticism because she was trying 14-year-olds, juveniles as adults and putting them in adult jails, which only helps to perpetuate the cycle. It's not restorative. It's not rehabilitation. Okay.
And I got people that got locked up probably like 2002, 2003, maybe for I wouldn't necessarily say murder, but for crimes, felonious crimes that would fall into the category of a lot of these, especially considering a gang affiliation. And a lot of them dudes just got out of prison like not too long ago. You see what I'm saying? And maybe they got out before and recently got back into something. But what set the standard was that, like you talking about in 2000, those were the years, those are my high school years. You know what I'm saying? So everything that we was getting into, it just kind of makes you think about like everybody that was truly affected by it and are people really paying attention to why it was and how it was a continuation from the three strikes law and how they were just kind of pushing that to, okay, we have those that are of adult age, but now we have these 14 to 18s that are out here still committing the same kind of crimes. How do we persecute and how do we try them? Well, let's try them as adults to see if it drops the numbers. And of course it doesn't.
It didn't work.
No, because like you said, the influence isn't coming from them. When I was 14, I didn't know where to get a gun until somebody showed me where to get a gun. You see what I'm saying? Or if you needed something, you go get it from somebody, or the channels open up after a certain age. So especially at that time, man, this was pretty significant for us. I know specifically, I can name a couple of people right now offhand that probably is still incarcerated or of some form right now due to this. So
absolutely, that's one of the critiques that black people have for Miss Kamala Harris. The other one is that convictions of drug dealers and drug-related sales increased while she was active in her role, from 56% to 74% increase in convictions. Okay, and now in a state, where marijuana is legal and white people are cleaning up, making millions and billions of dollars off the same product that a lot of black people are selling. And my problem with this is that cocaine is not coming from Compton in South Central LA.
And they know that.
Cocaine is coming from other countries. Okay? As a country, what are you doing to punish those that are actually bringing the product into these neighborhoods.
Right.
Okay, the 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, or even 21-year-old who's selling some rocks that's getting, on the corner that's making a few dollars, he is not the one that is the main problem. Right. Now, does he need to be held accountable for breaking the law of the land? Of course. But to what extent is the question. Right. Yeah. How do we pump funds into impoverished environments to allow opportunity to give black men choices so they don't feel as if they have to gangbang, sell dope, or shoot hoops or throw footballs down a football field?
You don't, because you have that small percentage of those that make it. But if I get everybody off the streets and give them positive things to do, then who fills up our prisons? Yeah, who keeps that system going? Somebody got to fill them motherfuckers for us to make money, for us to continue to build them at the rate that we build them. Exactly. So I think there'll always be organizations that help, but it goes back to, especially in LA, with Free Ray, Ricky Ross, and they know exactly where it's coming from. So instead of stopping it, why not just regulate it in a way where we can profit off of it and make them sell it for us and do all the work, and we take the profit and keep them out there to take the blame when they get caught? It's the same system over and over again. It just changes, like they said. Yeah. So I don't know. This lady she rubbed me the wrong way when I saw her on the Breakfast Club talking about how she used to smoke weed and listen to Snoop Dogg in college. Like, she not like super old. Like, Snoop wasn't on when you were in college, lady. Like, stop trying to be cool for us. You know what I'm saying? Like that out.
I get tired, and we're gonna talk about that in a second too. But I
got a question real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you feel about people that have been locked up for marijuana charges now that it's legal in certain states? Do you think they should be reduced?
Of course.
Their fees should be reduced.
What are they doing in jail still?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any logical sense. Anybody with a rational thinking mind.
Reduced or set free? Like, totally set free?
Well, okay, I guess it depends upon how they're behaving while they're incarcerated.
And the magnitude
of the offense. I don't think there's one blanket way to cover it. You know what I'm saying?
So from selling nicks or selling pounds,
if you're running some sort of organization and with that came other violent crimes, then you have to handle that person a little bit differently than the person who's
just
on the corner selling some dime bags. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if that person that was on the corner selling dime bags is on his second strike in California, and you got caught with some shit, then it's a different scenario as well. So
exactly.
Like you said, it's a matter of where you are, what you're doing, and who you are a lot of times. But hell yeah, they need to reduce some of them sentences or let some people go that's been in there forever, especially in New York. Like, they hold people at Rikers for way too long, for way too minimum. So that's one of them things where they really need to look into it. But
it just makes no sense. And one of the other critiques is her record on sentencing and prison inmate retention. So she has been accused of, cruel and unusual punishment for not allowing those who have been wrongly accused to get new trials.
Man.
Okay, so this is not right, man.
Yeah,
After the 2011 United States Supreme Court in Brown versus Plata declared California's prisons so overcrowded that they inflicted cruel and unusual punishment, Harris fought federal court supervision, explaining, I have a client and I don't get to choose my client. She's like nonchalant, like dismissive about the fact Harris's record on wrongful conviction cases as Attorney General has engendered some criticism from academics and activists. Law professor Laura Baselin contends Harris weaponized technicalities to keep wrongfully convicted people behind bars rather than allow them new trials. Wow. Okay, so for me, what is the motivation for this? Yeah. So when you're championing, yes, I'm for my people, in what way? Your record doesn't really show that, other than you snapping your head and talking black, if you will, right? Yeah. Okay, now the positives. You want to hear the positives that people praise her for?
Okay.
All right. So some of the things that she's done with law enforcement, is put together a essentially 90-day review for implicit bias and the lethal use of force, And she introduced this in 2015, the first of its kind, principal policing, procedural justice, and implicit bias training, designed in conjunction with the Stanford University psychologist and professor Jennifer Eberhardt, And so what they did was, hold law enforcement accountable and try to give them training on bias, So that's a good thing, right? Another thing that they say that she's done well, in 2011, she has done a lot for mortgage fraud and those that are having environmental, malpractice, essentially. And so she was able to prosecute Quest Diagnostics and others. that doesn't really have anything to do with black people, right? Like that's a cool thing to do. Okay, okay, all right. So there's some positives there that she has, right? And
do her positive outweigh her cons though? I mean, her pros.
I don't know enough about it.
To you,
yeah. I mean, for black people, that's the reason why I think you see such a vitriolic response on social media. Is that, we're not talking about Trump supporters, man. Right. We're talking about black people, women, men, young, old, that are like, we don't want anything to do with Kamala Harris because of her record within the black community is not indicative of somebody who represents our people. She may be a very good politician, and what it looks like to me is that's what she is, based off of where she is position-wise, okay, and what that means for her and who she's working around. She will make decisions for her political benefit, like most politicians do.
I was about to say that's the same. Like, who are we gonna get in there that's not gonna move at that same rate, though? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, are we really waiting for somebody to go and be behind Joe Biden that's for us? That goes back to what we said about us needing our own party, because we ain't never gonna have somebody in there that's completely for us. Like, I don't. That's kind of like blind hope there. I when I see it, I'm just like, well, damn, if she's in there and he chose her, let's see what she can do. Like, I don't think everybody should always be judged on the things that they've done in the past. Maybe she has a plan. So I'd rather hear it out than to knock her. But I don't. Y'all know how I feel about the government and politics. So we'll move on to that.